Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel once again, and welcome to the Ultimate Racing League for our Sunday Championship. Now, for those who follow on a regular basis, you will know that I actually cover the League 3 guys, and this week is round 8, if I can find my bits of paper. There it is. Really need to tidy this place up. So, yeah, we're at round 8 of 10, so just 3 more to go, including this one. We are over in Japan at Suzuka, and yeah, looking forward to this one. It's looking a bit grey and dark out there. There's no rain as yet, but who knows. So this should be interesting. Always interesting racing at Suzuka. It's a very technical track. It is 3.6 miles and 18 turns, and well, we'll have a look at the track as the guys go around, shall we? Now, I've not got the table, so what I'm going to do is bring you the league table next week, just before we start lap 9, so with 2 rounds to go. I shall bring you updated league table. If you do want to find it anyway, the most recent one is on the Ultimate Racing League Facebook page, so head over there and check that out if you want to have a look. But back onto this race. Now, if you can see up in the top left, it says lap 1 of 18. It's not. Apparently there was a problem with the settings. It should be 12 laps, so we'll be looking to finish the race at lap 12, and the guys just sort of drive around in circles for the remaining 6 laps. So it is only a 12 lap race, roughly 25 minutes. Now, we've got 11 on the grid, so there's a few guys missing. Now, I was handed a bit of paper this morning just to give me some information about the missing guys, and Viking, Wayne G, or Too Fast for Yous, and Thingamajig, they all apparently entered a sushi eating challenge at a local restaurant, and they're all feeling pretty unwell today, so they're unable to take part. And well, this is a good one. Sunas and Max apparently had a bit of a punch up in the pits just before qualifying. Nobody knows what it was about, but the pair of them have had to go off and get a bit of treatment, so they won't be taking part either. So hopefully everybody will be back next week. So we've only got 11 on the grid, but I'm sure we're in for some good racing. So as usual, we will have a look at their grid positions. This is after 10 minutes of qualifying. All on the soft tyres for race 1. It is just an out-and-out sprint. So let's go down the grid, shall we? And as we can see, we've got a familiar face up there on the front row. It's Harry Poppins. Frowny's just behind him in 2nd. Enzo Jack is in 3rd. 4th on the grid is Scott. Bazza is 5th. Then we have Dizzy Rip in 6th. Aussie Rooster is 7th. Molepiece 8th. Pete is 9th. 10th is Phaser with DB in 11th. So this is race 1. We'll get the right camera and we'll get the guys underway, shall we? Now, as I say, they're all going to be on soft tyres. It is a sprint, so no scheduled stops. Obviously, the guys can stop if they want to, but they should have enough fuel, and the tyres should last them for the entire race. And it is, as I said already, only a 12 lap race, so ignore that bit up in the top left as Harry takes us around turn 1, around the first curve. Then we come into this S section. It's called S's because if you look at the top right, you can see it is sort of like an S shape, I suppose. Not very inventive with the road, with the corner names are the Japanese. They make fantastic tracks, but when it comes to the corner names, they want in a little bit. Around Dunlop curve then at turn 7, as Harry still leads the pack. As we go down, everybody's still there where they should be, and yeah, it's all pretty tight at the minute. Mid-pack though, a bit of a battle going on. Just behind Aussie, we've got Pete in 8th with Molepiece in 9th. As we come around Degner curve, turns 8 and 9. Then we go under the bridge, which is like the crossover section, up towards the hairpin at turn 11, as everybody goes reeking through there. All nice and tight at the minute. Everybody behaving themselves. Harry Poppins still out in front. So around turn 11 they go. Then they go into turn 12, which is a long sweeping right-hander, and it's called 200R. Like I said, not very inventive. Into turns 13 and 14, which is spoon curve, and then we're on to this long back stretch, which takes us up to a sharp left-hander, a bit of a good elbow in the track, this top left-hand at the top. This is called 130R. Now apparently the 130R and the 200R are named after it's the distance, the radius of the corner. So it's 130 metres for this one and 200 metres for the previous one. And then we are into Casio Triangle at turn 16, 17, 18, the chicane, and then around the final turn onto the start-finish straight to start lap 2. So that's a little bit about the track. Everybody's still lined up. Nice little train we've got going. Harry Poppins down in front then Frowny, Enzo Jack, Scott, Bazza, Dizzy Rippin 6, Aussie Rooster in 7th. Then we've got Pete, Molepiece, Phaser in 10th with DB in 11th. Everybody still pretty much in touch with everybody else. Just Phaser and DB just slightly dropping off the pace. So those guys need to step it up a little bit if they want to stay in touch with the pack. No real action taking place at the minute. Everybody seems quite happy to just sit and behind the guy in front, just get a bit of a feel for the track. So we'll jump on board with Frowny, shall we, as we follow Harry Poppins around Dunlop Curb, down the hill towards Degner, through turn 8. Two very tricky corners, these two very sharp right-handers, but these guys getting through there okay. Enzo Jack just sitting in 3rd, waiting for a mistake that is, well, I don't think it's coming, is it? So around the hairpin at turn 11, Harry Poppins, Frowny still in 2nd, Enzo Jack following. Then we've got Scott and Bazza just behind them. All very quiet at the minute as we go through 200R up towards turn 13 and 14, as I say, spoon curve. This one is quite a tricky one actually to get right. It's a double apex turn. You treat it pretty much as one turn, but it is actually classed as 2. And then you're onto this straight up the hill. You can just see the penalty zone there. Hopefully nobody's going to be needing that one for a while. And then we're up to 130R, is this very fast left. As I say, it's more like a bit of an elbow kink in the road, and then it's hard on the brakes before hitting Casio and this chicane. You can see there's a bit of AstroTurf there on all the exits, and you've got to be really careful you don't get your wheels on there, because they will throw the car off line and then across the start finish line to start lap 3 of 12. So let's leave Frowny to it. We'll get out of his car. I'm sure he doesn't want us looking over his shoulder all the way around. So no real gaps opening up at the minute. Scott sitting in 4th just behind Enzo Jack. He's got his teammate Bazza in 5th, so he's Scott's got himself a wingman, at least for a couple of laps anyway, unless the message comes across the radio from their pit crew telling them to swap over. I don't see why they should though at the minute. So Bazza just sitting in 5th. He can try and keep the rest of the pack away, although a slight gap is opening up to Aussie, and then likewise a slight gap opening up to Dizzy Rip, who's in 7th. He's got Peter and Molepiece for company just behind him, and then Phaser and DB. Now we did say this, didn't we, before, and I think DB must have had a bit of an off, because he's now only just coming around Dunlop Curve. So DB must have had a bit of a moment and has lost touch with the rest of the pack. Phaser as well needs to pick up the pace a little bit, otherwise he's going to end up losing touch as well. So fastest lap at the minute is Harry Poppins on a 2:09. Phaser's last lap was a 2:13. So yeah, good, nearly 4 seconds off of the pace of Harry Poppins. So Phaser just needs to pick it up just a little bit, get back onto the pack so he can pick up that slipstream again. Harry Poppins though out in front now. Then he has got Frowny just behind him, and Frowny is going to be in the slipstream, although not quite close enough to put any kind of pressure on Harry Poppins at the minute. Scott and Enzo Jack following those two through and up to Casio Triangle and the chicane, then just taking as much as you dare from those curbs. Curbs not too bad around this track, to be fair. They're not really raised. They can get slippy in the wet, and as we know, Japan is quite notorious for its sudden thunderstorms. Seems to be brightening up a little bit. It started off dark, didn't it? So I'm sort of hopeful we're not going to get any of the wet stuff, at least in this race anyway. The next one is going to be a little bit later on in the day, in the evening, race 2. So as I say, weather may well change. We shall see. So Bazza sitting in 5th with Aussie in 6th. Then we've got Dizzy Rip in 7th. This is as close as we're going to get to a battle at the minute, I think, with Pete and Dizzy Rip. Let's jump on board with Pete and we'll follow him round for a few turns as we chase that Suzuki of Dizzy Rip around Dunlop Curve, down this very slight hill into Degner, turn 8 and 9. Be careful not to go too far to the left. You can see we've got all that kitty litter out there and you really do not want to be in that stuff. And now Pete really is right up the chuff of Dizzy Rip. Dizzy Rip under a bit of pressure there, and I think he got his braking a little bit wrong. Oh, he's managed to recover really well. He did go very deep into the hairpin, and I think that may have been the pressure that Pete was applying, but Peter unable to capitalise on that. Dizzy Rip managed to get himself back up into 7th and deep breaths, gain his composure as we go into turn 13 at Spoon Curve. Oh, we've had somebody go off. Now then, who is that? Let's jump out and see if we can find out who it was. I think it was Enzo Jack. Yes, it was. Oh, what a shame for Enzo Jack in sitting in 4th. Now it's at Spoon Curve. Oh, he got a little bit of grass there and he's got his braking wrong onto that AstroTurf, and as I mentioned before, at the chicane, it is not your friend. It will flip you around, and Enzo Jack now looking to try and rejoin safely. What a shame for him. So he's come off and down into 9th. So unfortunate for Enzo Jack, but Aussie and Bazza are the ones that have benefited from that mistake. Put my phone on silent. Sorry if you heard any buzzing there. So Bazza up to 4th then. Aussie Rooster promoted to 5th. The front 3, nothing changed there, with Harry still in front, leading this race, with Frowny and Scott just behind him. In fact, there has been a change, because Scott now up to 3rd with Bazza 4th, and I think it was the other way around, wasn't it? So there has been a slight change. Pete in 6th, Dizzy Rip in 7th. He's got his composure back again. Molepiece in 8th. Enzo, well, got a bit of a fight on his hands now, hasn't he? Was up there in P4, now down in 9th, so he's got it all to do. He's going to be pushing hard, but the problem with that is obviously that's going to bring some mistakes along with it, and it's very easy, as he found out earlier, it's very easy to go off track around this circuit. It is a great circuit. It's one of those you either love it or you hate it. I'm sort of stuck in the middle, really. I mean, it is a great track, but it's very difficult to drive. And well, lucky for these guys, it's not raining. Otherwise, it becomes an absolute nightmare. But well, who knows? As spectators, let's keep our fingers crossed that the heavens do open up for race 2. Maybe even later today. We shall see. We shall see. But Enzo Jack is going to be pushing hard, and I don't think it's going to be long before he's trying to challenge Molepiece for P8. Phaser down in 10th. He can see the back of the pack, so that's going to encourage him. His last lap was a 2:11, so he's certainly picked the pace up now. And when you can see the rest of the cars, it does give you some encouragement, something to go at. So that's what Phaser will be doing. DB, unfortunately, is quite a distance away. So really struggling on this track is DB. It's not for everybody, but he'll keep going. So back up to our leader, Harry Poppins, followed by Frowny and Scott. Well, Harry Poppins is making it look very easy, isn't he? Now into a 2:08.9 fast lap. And looking very comfortable out there is Harry Poppins. Doesn't look troubled at all, does he? Just out there admiring the view. did a big wheel in the background. They've got a great view of the track, haven't they? Especially when it stops at the top. But it's expensive to go on as well. As Frowny just goes under the bridge there, you see, that was the crossover section at 130R. So when the guys go through 130R, then that's the bit that just as they're heading into there, that's where the bridge is. Not that you notice it when you're driving it. So just sort of gaps opening up now between, especially the top three. Harry's he's got a bit of a gap back to Frowny. Frowny's got the gap back to Scott. You can just see the two guys ahead of him. Bazza, bit of a gap there as well for him. So no real fighting taking place at the minute up front. So everybody's just waiting for everybody else to make a mistake. Aussie Rooster in 5th. So the gaps are all pretty even at the minute. And then we've got this little group of 4 now, led by Pete in 6th. He's got Dizzy Rip just behind him with Mole Piece and Enzo Jack following. So these 4 are about as close as we're going to get to a battle. Enzo Jack has got some ground to make up, hasn't he? Like I say, he was in 4th, and after that off at, I think it was Spoon, wasn't it? He put himself all the way down to near the back of the pack. So yeah, some work to do for Enzo Jack, but he's going to keep going. Let's jump on board with Mole Piece, shall we? Trying to break the slipstream, I think, from Enzo Jack, but no point really, because Enzo will just pick it up from the 2 guys in front of him. So Mole Piece might as well just stay in the slipstream of Dizzy Rip and Pete. As we go around turn 1, which is, oh, believe it or not, first curve. As I say, not that inventive, are they, with the names, but they make great tracks. Into the S's then we go, slightly uphill, a bit of a climb. Got a technical section of the track this. You're sort of dabbing the brakes, you're going down, up and down the gears, trying to keep the car on the racing line. And once you get to the top, you just start on down this, well, slight slope downhill into Degnut at turn 8 and then turn 9. Nicking a little bit of the curb, pushing track limits as Mole Piece gets right up the smelly end of Dizzy Rip. Is he going to have a look at the inside? Maybe looking at the cutback door. No, Mole Piece just no. Dizzy Rip holding on to 7. Mole Piece obviously very conscious with Enzo Jack behind him. Enzo Jack looking for the slightest opportunity, and he will be through. Now we're on lap 7 of 12, not 18 as it says in the top left. As Pete seemed to go deep there, but recovered well. Dizzy Rip doing a lot of defending. He's hugging that inside line, trying to get a decent exit on the way out, but he doesn't want to leave Mole Piece any room at all. Enzo Jack must have made a bit of a mistake going through Spoon, as he's just slightly dropped off the pace, so Mole Piece can just concentrate on trying to make a move on Dizzy Rip as they go into 130R. And oh, you want to try and stay on the tarmac there, don't go drifting out onto that AstroTurf. Usually find that if you do go across that AstroTurf, it is best just to keep going to the right onto the runoff area and then get yourself back on track, because if you try and turn the wheel while on the AstroTurf, you usually end up facing a different direction to the one you're supposed to be going. But good recovery from Mole Piece down the hill. Oh, Enzo has picked up a penalty, and that's the first one we've seen today, or one we've seen anyway. So Enzo definitely pushing hard. He's trying to make his way through the pack, but in the process obviously broke track limit and has got himself a half-second penalty. Now he'll serve that up the hill on the back stretch just after turn 14. So as he comes out of Spoon and starts up the hill, then that's where the penalty zone is. Bit awkward really, the penalty zone as well, because as I say, it is uphill. So you've got to really try and get your momentum back after that. So poor old Enzo got a penalty to serve. Fazer in 10th. He's lost sight of the pack again, hasn't he? And then poor old DB down in 11th. Just not having the best of times. Up at the front though, no real change. Harry Poppins still out in front. Brownie, he's on a good race, isn't he? Currently sitting in second, and he's just keeping Harry Poppins within touching distance. So he's not letting get away. Scott in third. Now what's he running? His last lap was a 2:10. And Harry Poppins' last lap was also 2:10. So yeah, Scott is on pace as well. Just waiting for a mistake from either of the two guys up ahead. Bazza, he's sitting in fourth, so good points for those guys as a team in third and fourth if it stays like that. Aussie Rooster in fifth. Having a bit of a quiet race is Aussie Rooster. No real battling to be done. He's not going to do any defending at the minute. He's just got to keep it on track, keep a steady pace, and look at that consistency. 2:10 every single lap after. So from lap 3 to lap 8, 2:10s. That is consistency. So well done to Aussie Rooster for that. Let's have a look. Peter's well, Pete opening up a bit of a gap back to Dizzy Rip now as they come through the S's. So Dizzy Rip in 7th with Molepiece just behind him, and then Enzo Jackie's still there. Enzo really not being able to make his way through the pack as I thought he might. So a lot of these guys pretty evenly matched, to be fair. And this is not really a track for doing overtakes. You've got a couple of spots. Obviously you've got the start finish straight, you've got the back stretch. But the rest of it is you've just got to wait for somebody to make a mistake, and then you've got to be ready. But you don't want to be making mistakes yourself, and well, Enzo Jack really is pushing the limits. Now then, Molepiece, is he going to make a move on Dizzy Rip as they come up towards turn 11 and the hairpin? Molepiece going to go a long way round. He's not going to get it done there. Dizzy Rip definitely cut that one off before it even started. So good racing from Dizzy Rip, but Molepiece has not given up. He's really pushing it now. He's letting Dizzy Rip know he is interested in taking P7 as they come towards Spoon Curve. Molepiece just slotting in behind. He's going to look for a good exit from turn 14 as they start up the hill onto the back stretch. Now he's in the slipstream. So Molepiece, is he going to be looking at making a move on Dizzy Rip before they get to 130R at the top of the hill? He just needs to be a little bit closer. Is Dizzy Rip going to defend it? Does he feel he needs to? No, he doesn't. They are still bumper to bumper. This is great stuff. Dizzy Rip goes defensive again as they get to Casio. Molepiece just cannot find a way through, can he? This is great defending from Dizzy Rip. Molepiece getting very frustrated. Is he going to have a look now onto the start finish straight down towards turn 1, and Molepiece is trying to position himself on the inside, but I still don't think he's quite close enough, or is he? Yes, they are side by side. Now and then Molepiece, if he can get that car slowed down, he's going to take P7, or is Dizzy Rip going to get the cut back? Oh, great move from Molepiece. He's made that one stick as they go into the S's now. Fantastic racing from those two guys. Dizzy Rip did everything he could, but in the end the slipstream really did pay off there, and it helped Molepiece through. But look at Dizzy Rip. He's just not going to let Molepiece get away, is he? Oh no, get back on track. Well, I don't know what happened there, a bit of a glitch there, but I thought Dizzy Rip was heading for the grass and the gravel, but managed to get back onto the grey stuff and continue his fight with Molepiece, although he is just slightly dropping off the pace now. A couple of mistakes there going through turn 8 and 9. Into the hairpin they go. Oh nice, a tighter line there from Dizzy Rip, and he's trying to get back up to Molepiece. Now then, where's Enzo Jack? Now he really has dropped off the pace as Enzo Jack, so he must have had a moment. So no real pressure from anyone for Dizzy Rip, so he can concentrate on trying to get that P7 back from Molepiece. But I think in pushing he's making a few little mistakes that's costing him time. Oh, like another one now. I'm not sure if that's a mistake or it's a bit of lag. I'm not sure, but there definitely does seem to be a gap opening up between Molepiece and Dizzy Rip. Enzo Jack, as I say, just slightly falling off the pace. Then we've got Phaser and DB still down at the back. So back up at the pointy end is Harry Poppins, still led from the start, and we're now on lap 11. So one more after this, and Harry Poppins looking very comfortable. Brownie in on the second step of the podium, with Scott, who occupies the third step at the minute. He has got his teammate Bazza behind him, so yeah, as I said earlier, it'd be interesting to see if any radio messages come across telling them to swap over, or whether there's an agreement between the two of them that if they get in this situation, then this is how they're going to stay. Whether Bazza puts a challenge in on his teammate, well, that remains to be seen, but he is running out of laps to do it. We are about halfway through lap 11 of 12. We'll just go down the order as we go through the hairpin. Aussie Rooster in 5th, Pete is in 6th. So two teammates there following each other. Then we've got Molepiece in 7th with Enzo Jack in 8th. Dizzy Rip in 9th. Oh, what happened to Dizzy Rip? I don't know. Shall we go back and see if we can find it? A long way back. So apologies for that. We missed that one. But Dizzy Rip was doing a lot better than that. So he must have had a bit of a moment. Has ended up down in 9th. Enzo Jack has moved up into 8th. Phaser in 10th. And DB still down in 11th. So where are the guys? They're just coming up to 130R. They are over the crossover as Harry Poppins takes us down towards the Casio Triangle. He'll soon be onto the start finish line to start the final lap of this race. Although it says 18 in the corner, it's not right, it is only 12. So across the line Harry Poppins goes to start his final lap. Frowny following him closely in 2nd with Scott. A little way back, Scott. Got his teammate behind him, like I said, Bazza. Now, is Bazza going to make a move on Scott, or have they agreed that that's how they're going to stay? You do not want to be bumping into your teammate, though, especially on the last lap. So Scott maintaining 3rd with Bazza in 4th. There may not be any team orders at all. They may just be on completely opposite sides of the garage and no communication between the two of them. And Bazza really is pushing hard, isn't he? He's trying to force a mistake out of Scott. So I would guess there are no team orders, because there is nobody close enough to them as they go side by side. And as I say, you do not want to be pushing your teammate off the track. But Bazza goes through into 3rd. Scott now down into 4th. This is a great battle with the run-up on the on the final lap. These two having a proper ding-dong. They are teammates. Well, you thought they were teammates. It appears there is no team order at all as they go up through the hairpin for the final time. You just see the two cars of Harry Poppins and Frowny up ahead. So we'll stay with them. We'll have a quick look and see what's happening there. Harry Poppins looks to have this race pretty much sewn up as he goes through Spoon Curve at turns 13 and 14 for the final time. He'll soon be on that back stretch and heading towards the last couple of turns. Brownie still in 2nd, and Bazza and Scott fighting it out for 3rd. So we're going to stay with Harry Poppins now as we come to the final turn on the back stretch. Then it's just Casio Triangle ahead of him, and a very good, very convincing win for Harry Poppins. Made it look easy, really, didn't he? If the cameraman can actually keep up with us. And there we go, Harry Poppins goes across the line to take the win. Frowny's going to come in 2nd. Bazza is going to get that 3rd podium spot, so well done to him. Scott across the line in 4th. Aussie Rooster, he will finish in 5th. Good racing from him, quiet race really. Pete gets 6th. Molepiece, he will cross the line in 7th. Enzo Jack, well, not really, but his race started off well, didn't he? Then at that moment, never really recovered, but Enzo gets a dizzy rip. He's going to come across the line in 9th. Phaser 10 with DB, he will be finishing in 11th. So that was race 1, pretty rain-free, although it was a bit cloudy and overcast. The guys are going to go off, have a bit of a rest, get something to eat, no sushi I hope, and a cup of tea or coffee or something, and then we'll get them back on track this evening for race 2. So we're just going to follow DB across the line, and there he goes to finish in 11th. So I'm going to end the race there. They will carry on for another few laps just to finish it off, but we're going to leave them there. Hopefully you can join me for race 2 very shortly.